It's been a long time since I've been here in Singapore speaking to a nice crowd of Elkinians and guests. It's surprising to a lot of people when we start talking about hydrogen. They kind of know what hydrogen is, but before we go in the slides, I'd like to make a few important points. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. The entire universe. 75% of the universe is hydrogen. Most people don't know that. The sun is 75% hydrogen. It's the combustion of hydrogen that creates the heat and the light from our sun. So think, 75% of the universe is hydrogen. The sun is 75% hydrogen. And what covers 75% of this earth? What covers the surface of the earth? Water. 75% of the earth is covered with water. That's why it's called the blue planet. If you've ever seen any photographs taken from space, the earth looks like a blue marble. And it's the water that makes it look that way. What is water? It's hydrogen and oxygen. H2O. Wow. It seems like hydrogen is pretty important, doesn't it? Well, we're going to find out today a little bit about how important hydrogen is. I want to show you a book that was written a couple of years ago by a friend of mine. He is a molecular scientist. His name is Bob Centenary. Bob wrote a book to simplify the science of hydrogen, because hydrogen is a relatively new scientific study. People have known about it for hundreds of years, but it was only around the year 2010 that people started thinking, wow, hydrogen is very, very special. And the more that we know, the more that we learn, the more that we're finding out how special hydrogen really is. And Bob's book, we're going to try and bring over some copies to Malaysia and Singapore because it's not available, as far as I know, here in Singapore or Malaysia. But the interesting thing about this is people often don't like to get too scientific. And that's something that I've loved my whole life. I love science. I love diving deep in and learning as much as I can. But a lot of people, they remember their science from school days, but really are kind of bored or put off by science. And it's important that we study at least basic knowledge so that exactly what Anna Wong was talking about can happen. Think about this. You can have millions and millions and millions of dollars. You can have a giant mansion, a yacht, but if you're not healthy, if you don't feel good, it's pointless. Health is really, really the most important, in my opinion, the most important thing that we can have is good health. I've been very lucky to travel all over the world, and everywhere I go, I don't care what race, what religion, what color, what language. Everybody wants the same thing. They want to be healthy. And Elkin has, from its foundation, talked about helping people be healthy. We need to be healthy. We need to help other people be healthy. And what's the name of the book? Live Healthier, Better, and Longer with Hydrogen. So I would just like to touch on a few points as far as today's information is concerned on our new Genki hydrogen breathing apparatus, but it's more than just that. It's more than inhaling. Let me see. So this changes this, but doesn't change this. Okay. So let me. Sorry? Okay. So, what is it that causes people to get old? Cells become inactive. It's called senescence. They're not dead, but they're just kind of holding still. And since they can't multiply, and cells are supposed to multiply, since they can't multiply, there's less and less, because did you know that 100,000 cells every minute die in your body? 100,000 a minute. But it's okay, because new ones are being produced all the time. But as we age, that starts to slow down. And what is it that causes all of this to happen? Things called free radicals. And again, we won't go too deep, so don't switch off. Free radicals are molecules that are missing an electron. And that electron, or that missing electron, causes free radicals to be very aggressive. In fact, some of the most damaging free radicals in the entire human body are called hydroxyl radicals. And eventually, if you have enough hydroxyl radicals, it can kill you. Think about this English word, and I hope most of you are able to follow me here. Think about the word disease. Say, oh, I have a disease. What kind of disease? I didn't say. I just have a disease. What does that mean? Dis-ease. Dis means not. Ease means you don't feel good. I have a disease. Well, free radicals, stress, cause disease. In fact, most health experts believe that 80% of all diseases, of everything, 80% are caused by inflammation. And where does inflammation come from? Inflammation comes from oxidative stress. So here's what we need to think about. What is it that causes free radicals? Well, some are actually born naturally. Eating, exercising, stress, all of these things can cause free radicals. But here's where the problem comes, is if you have too many free radicals, you've got a problem. And this is where today we want to talk about, we got a slide is different. Let's see, there we go. Okay. How many of you ever experienced stress? I know you don't want to raise your hand, but it's everybody. Everybody has stress. Think about when you're driving over here in the traffic. Think about when it's time to get your certificate for your car. The stress that it's going to cause when you have to come up with that kind of money. Think about students. Think about parents raising children. Stress is all around us. And stress is a killer. Stress causes brain diseases and issues. Stress causes heart attacks. Stress causes kidney problems. Stress, in fact, causes most diseases. Now, if you break your leg, stress didn't cause that, although indirectly, yes, your leg broke because of some stress. But most of today's human conditions are caused by oxidative stress. And here's what is so incredible and why we are so happy to introduce the Genki. Hydrogen is one of the most helpful and efficacious things when it comes to reducing oxidative stress, when it comes to reducing free radicals, when it comes to reducing inflammation. Now, some people make a mistake. They say, well, inflammation, wow, that's a bad thing. Actually, inflammation is a natural response in the body. Your immune system creates inflammation in some cases. So let's say I get a piece of wood in my finger. In America, we call it a splinter or a sliver. And I don't even know it's there, but all of a sudden it gets red and a little bit painful. And what is that? Oh, it's a sliver of wood. My body's immune system is creating inflammation, and it's trying to alleviate that problem. That's natural inflammation. When you talk about unnatural inflammation, that's where we get problems. Today, we live in a society where stress levels are like they've never been before. We worry about so many different things, and we don't even know that we're under stress. We're so used to it, it's almost like normal. And yet, stress is not normal. And hydrogen gas, or what we call molecular hydrogen, H2, is something that has been recognized as safe. In fact, if you look at, for example, Japan, the equivalent of the Japanese FDA, they have recommended this for use in certain conditions. China, America, Europe, this is all the countries and more that recognize hydrogen as GRAS, means it's safe. Now, here's what's interesting. You can't smell it. You cannot smell hydrogen. You can't see it. But here's the most impressive thing to me, is that it has no side effects. Zero. Everything else, for example, let's just say that somebody has, sad to say they're developing cancer. You're going to have to probably chemotherapy or radiation or some sort of an alleviation. Think about the side effects. Think about the side effects of most medications. And yet with hydrogen, there are zero side effects. And people say, well, how can hydrogen be so effective? How can hydrogen help so many conditions? When Bob wrote this book, there was over 2,000 scientific publications on hydrogen. Right now, I'm aware of over 200 human studies. Not just animals, but human studies. And the reason that this is so effective, it's the smallest molecule in the universe. Nothing smaller. For those of you who remember science, we have a periodic table of elements. You've probably seen a periodic table. Hydrogen is number one because it's the smallest. And being so small, it can penetrate into your body, into your bloodstream, into the blood-brain barrier. And it goes in easily because it's so small. And remember, it helps to calm down inflammation. It helps to act as an antioxidant. It helps to wipe out the hydroxyl radical in your body. This is why it is so effective. And again, it happens almost instantly as you inhale or ingest hydrogen because it is so small. We won't go too deep into this. It's, again, as I said, it's a relatively new field of study in terms of application to human beings. It really didn't start full time until about 2009, 2010. I think we've got it here. Yeah, 2009. It was a cell signal modulator. So again, this is scientific. We won't go too far into that. But if you look at this, most of the research has been only in the last 15 years. And as I mentioned before, we missed another one here. There we go. Research. You can't imagine how much research is going on right now. In addition to Bob and his book and the research he went into the book, another friend of mine, Dr. Tyler LeBaron, is the executive director of the Molecular Institute for Hydrogen, MIH. And I was on the phone with Tyler a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying, you will not believe some of the studies that we're doing and what we're going to find out. So it's just an incredible finding, and here is some of the things that it can do. People say, well, what does hydrogen do? You can look at this yourself. I can read a little bit of it. What's the biggest organ of the human body? It's your skin. Your skin is an organ. Most people don't think of it. They think of the heart, the liver, the lungs, the brain. The skin is the biggest organ, and they are finding some tremendous results with hydrogen, or molecular hydrogen is what we should call it, because it's H2. There's two molecules, and that's the gas, and that is what is improving so many different health situations. We can't say that it cures anything, because then all of a sudden you'd be in the realm of medicine, and doctors and people like that don't like somebody messing around with medicine. No, it is a natural anti-inflammatory calming substance that our body actually produces. Did you know that? Most people don't realize your body produces about 12 liters of hydrogen every day in your gut, because your body knows it needs the hydrogen. But you also need to understand that because of today's stress, because of today's poor diet, people don't get enough nutrition. They don't get enough fiber. And fiber is what is very, very important for the production of hydrogen. So all of a sudden people are realizing, wow, maybe I could benefit from more hydrogen. Maybe I could benefit from inhaling, drinking hydrogen-enriched water, wearing goggles over my eyes so that they're exposed to hydrogen gas. There are a number of tremendous benefits. And I don't believe that many of you here have had a chance to use the hydrogen at this point, but I know of hundreds of people in Malaysia and in the US who, if I told you what they've experienced, you wouldn't believe it. Because it borders on miraculous. You think, how can this be? It's amazing. And if you ever have a chance to read this book, Bob's sister passed away, but the doctors told her that she only had less than 2 years to live. And by enriching her environment with hydrogen, she lived 8 years longer than they expected. So, is it just the hydrogen? Nobody can say. But here's something important. People who think about their health usually start to make better decisions, better lifestyle choices. I shouldn't admit this, but when I was young, in university, on Friday nights and Saturday nights, me and my roommates, we'd sit around and we'd probably drink 20 cans of beer. Whoa. I mean, it was because the stress of the week, we had to get rid of all that stress. I certainly would not recommend to anybody that you do that. But what I'm saying is, in Elkins' effort to improve people's lives, build you to build others, all of a sudden people begin to think, well, wait a second, maybe I should not eat fast food every day. Maybe I probably shouldn't drink as much as maybe I do now. Maybe it'd be a good idea to quit smoking. All of these choices, all of these lifestyle choices affect our health. And again, today's theme is wellness. We want people to be well. We want everyone to feel good so that they can teach others and that their families can feel good. And this is why we have this line of products. I believe Anna mentioned that I was part of the original development of Elkins BioPure RO system. And the BioPure is still an incredible water purification device. Now, take that pure water and add molecular hydrogen to it. Wow! All of a sudden you go from something that takes out the lead, the heavy metals, pesticides, hormones, whatever is in water, you're filling your body with pure water, and now with the Hydromi, you're adding molecular hydrogen. And think about our new machine, our Genki. You can breathe the hydrogen, goes straight into your lungs. It instantly diffuses into the bloodstream, into the blood-brain barrier. You wear the goggles. I think some of you probably spend time either looking at your phone or on a computer. It's eye strain. People didn't used to have cell phones. When I was growing up, there was no cell phone. When I was growing up, there were no computer screens to stare at. Eye strain has become a big problem. And people sometimes don't realize it. Headaches, stress. Why? Think about your eyes. And this is one of the beautiful things that when we talk about our products here, we've got the pure water. We've got something that is called a PEM membrane in the Hydromi machine. And it uses what they call a proton exchange membrane, produces hydrogen. It can produce up to 1 part per million, or 900 ppb of molecular hydrogen. And it is, let's back up, there we go. It is the very first, and as far as I know, the only reverse osmosis system that also adds hydrogen into the water. And so we use the IHSA, International Hydrogen Standards Association. We use their standards. We make sure that our machines meet those standards so that when you buy a Hydro-Me or even a Genki, you're getting what you pay for. You know, right now, I'm sad to say, there is so much misinformation. Seriously. Companies that claim their machine does this, claim that their machine can do that. Oh, ours, we make hydrogen and we make oxygen. Well, to me, that's kind of marketing. How many of you ever have had an automobile, a car? I think a lot. You don't need to put it in your hands. If you went to a car dealership and they said, we're going to sell you this one, but we're going to also let you buy the one here, you only have to pay 20% more, but it's got 5 wheels. Huh? A car should have 4 wheels. Oh, no. Ours has 5 wheels. So it's better than the one with 4 wheels. Sure? It's marketing. And companies today are out there pushing hydrogen generators from tap water. Wait a second. Hydrogen is a fantastic agent that functions through the whole body. But I'm going to have hydrogen in tap water that's got who knows what. Maybe has dissolved leads, has dissolved pharmaceuticals, that has whatever tap water has. You don't know what's in the tap water. That's the thing, you don't know. So with the Hydro-Me, you know. You start with pure water because you're removing the contaminants. And then you add the hydrogen on top of the pure water. And it's this PEM, proton exchange membrane, that is delivering that molecular hydrogen. So every glass of water that you take from your Hydro-Me machine has molecular hydrogen. And this, to me, is so important. If we talk about the Genki hydrogen inhaler, I want you to think about this. It can also produce hydrogen that you can put into your water. So let's just say you don't have a Hydro-Me purifier. Let's just say you have an older BioPure purifier. Your Genki can actually produce molecular hydrogen, and you can put it in a glass of water and it infuses into the water, and now all of a sudden you're drinking hydrogen-rich water, HRW. For those of you who like to use your phones someday, look up HRW. I think the very first thing you're going to see is probably hydrogen-rich water. All of a sudden, the whole world is talking about hydrogen. And if you look at the Genki machine, the purity of the hydrogen is there. The portability is there. You don't have to carry around this big machine that they used to come in. The safety is built in. You don't have to replace time after time. It is really one of the most advanced hydrogen gas producing devices in the world. And it's something that everybody can benefit from if they use it. So if we move on to our next slide, we're just going to, there we go, just mention the breakthrough technologies. The Korean Institute of Science and Technology is actually one of the early developers of the proton exchange membrane. This is why we call it a PEM. This is what generates the hydrogen. It's got an advanced separator so that what you're getting is pure hydrogen, pure, safe hydrogen. And if we go to our next slide, something that's very special. I've never seen another machine in the world. And I just came back from the US in April. I was at a huge technology conference and exhibition. Lots of companies selling hydrogen generating machines. Nobody that I have ever seen has all three of these in one unit. So you're inhaling the hydrogen instantly into your lungs, your bloodstream, and the blood-brain barrier. The goggles are extremely unique. So you put on the goggles and the molecular hydrogen gas infuses your eyes with the benefit of hydrogen. And remember, hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the universe, and it dampens down or reduces inflammation. It's an antioxidant. And we all suffer from oxidative stress. And then, as I said, you can actually take the wand and you can put it into water and it will generate 1 ppm or 1,000 ppb of hydrogen water, molecular hydrogen gas. Just a little bit more, even though we've discussed it at this point. Health is the most important thing in my mind. You want to feel good. You want to stay healthy. And it's interesting. Anna mentioned 1 minute without oxygen. Actually, that's not true. Some people can hold their breath for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. There's people who can actually hold their breath for almost 10 minutes. But here's what's happening, is slowly your cells start dying. So the rule of thumb is 5 minutes without air, and you're going to quit living. 5 days without water, you're going to quit living. So health depends on two things. It depends on breathing, and it depends on water. Big old heavy guy like me, I can go for 2 months, literally, 2 months without eating, and my body will still be alive. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to lose a lot of weight, but I will still be alive. Breathing and water are the two most important things to sustaining life. And hydrogen is one of the keys. Again, water, H2O. The universe, hydrogen. The sun, hydrogen. Hydrogen is emerging as more and more important than it ever has been before. So when we talk about our new Genki, we're talking about not just breathing, which you have to do. Breathing, by the way, is involuntary. Even if you pass out, you get knocked unconscious, you will still breathe. It's an involuntary function. It's like your heart. Your heart just beats. It's involuntary. Drinking water, you have to think about it. You have to drink water. Your body automatically is going to say you're thirsty. It's going to make you drink water. But there have been cases of people who literally die because they refuse to take water. There's people who have starved themselves to death. They won't take food. But when we think about the natural human process, when we think about the body, it is amazing. And I'm not going to keep you here much longer because my last session was in the U.S. and I was with a group of doctors and scientists, and we went for 3 hours and we still had a long way to go. So I won't do that to you. But here's what I will say. Your immune system is what protects you from disease or from illness. It's your immune system. But if your immune system isn't functioning properly, you might all of a sudden get some of these conditions. Or if you have too much stress, you have too much inflammation, too many free radicals, your body is going to get worn down. Your body is going to develop problems. Problems like heart disease, kidney disease, lung conditions. All of these things are symptoms of excess oxidative stress. Hydrogen will help to alleviate, eliminate, and hydrogen will strengthen your immune system. It's a natural process. We've got a few statistics here. 70% experience eye strain. Average person 7 to 10 hours per day on screen time. And I want you to think about this seriously. Your parents, your grandparents, how much screen time did they have? 0. None. And you go from 0 to an average of 7 to 10 hours per day? What does that do to our eyes? What does that do to our system? It creates stress. It creates free radicals. It creates sometimes simple problems like dry eyes or red eyes. Sometimes they're worse problems, headaches. I know people who spend a lot of time on computers. They come home and they've just got headaches. Why? It's because they've experienced too much stress. So when we talk about the goggles, we're talking about something that I don't believe any other company has. I have not seen. Has anybody seen a hydrogen machine that has a goggles? Anna, Kiko, have you ever seen one? As far as I know, we're the only ones in the world. Not just in Southeast Asia, in the world. Now, believe me, they'll start popping up. You're going to start seeing them because people love to copy success. And if you can improve your health, other companies are going to say, wow, we can build something and tell people it will improve their health. It may or it may not, depends on how well it's made. So, in a simple way, this is what we say. Breathe in wellness, drink in vitality. Because again, you need to start with pure water. And our Genki hydrogen generator uses pure water to split the H2 and the O. That's where that hydrogen comes from. But don't be fooled by some of these companies that are making all kinds of outlandish claims. I was talking to Dr. LeBaron, the Molecular Hydrogen Institute, and this was 2 weeks ago. And I said, Tyler, are you seeing these machines coming out of Asia that are making so many false claims? And he said, right now, we are working on developing a special standard against deception, against companies that make all sorts of false claims. Do you all remember a few years back when COVID was just rampaging around the world? There were companies, oh, this can stop COVID. This can cure COVID. There were so many scandals all over the world. And sadly, right now, because hydrogen is becoming such a huge topic of interest, I'm seeing just the beginnings. I'm seeing companies that claim all sorts of nonsense. But let me ask you a question. This will be quick. If you have a bottle that you carry around with you, yes, and you buy one of these that says, we produce hydrogen. So you can buy bottles now that actually you carry with you, and with batteries inside, they produce hydrogen. But think about it. Number one, what kind of water are they using in that bottle? Most people don't even think about it. So you're putting hydrogen, a little bit, into contaminated water. What really is the point when it comes to health and wellness? We want to point out a couple of things for you. Hydrogen has a half-life of 2 hours. So if I start out with 1,000 ppb in a glass, 2 hours later it's going to be 500, because hydrogen is a gas. It will gas off. So when you are drinking or breathing, you want to do it at that point as much as you can. Have I ever left a glass of hydrogen water and come back, I forgot to drink it? I've done it. Everybody does it. But most of it's still there. Some will go away, but it's mostly all still there. So what we're saying here is that best consumed within 2 hours for maximum effectiveness. So be logical. Don't put Hydromi water or Genki water in a plastic bottle and carry it around in your car for the next 2 days. Doesn't help at all, because the hydrogen just goes right out of the plastic, and plastic bottles have microplastic contamination. That's a fact. Even the best bottled water in the world has microplastics in it. And it happens when they're being filled and the caps are getting put on. And you'd be shocked, absolutely stunned, if you knew how much plastic was in a bottle of very, very good water. So for the most part, you want to drink your pure water when you produce it. You want to breathe your molecular hydrogen as it's being produced. You want to make sure that you're as healthy and well as you can be. So remember, when we, a short while ago, started talking about health and wellness, what are the two most important things to staying alive? One, you have to breathe. Two, you have to have water. Food, even though I love food, you can do without food for a while. It'll be okay. But if we are taking care of our health through the Hydromi, through the BioPure, through the Genki, we are doing the things that we need to do. And here's a question that people ask me, especially when I'm in the US, because hydrogen actually is better known in Asia than in the US, because most of the studies started in Japan. Who can benefit from molecular hydrogen? Oh, individuals who want to improve wellness, people who are tired, people who play sports, people who want to sleep better, people who are older, people who are working too hard, people who are athletes, people who live high up in the mountains. wait a second. Look at this list. It's everybody. Every single person can benefit from drinking hydrogen-rich water and or inhaling hydrogen, the molecular hydrogen as produced by the Genki, and wearing the glasses so that you are bathing your eyes with pure hydrogen. So I think probably, I hope I haven't gone past my time. If I did, I'm sorry. But I could talk about this all day, literally all day, because I get excited when people learn new things. And hydrogen therapy in whatever form. And by the way, I'll mention this before I finish. You can breathe hydrogen, you can drink hydrogen-rich water, you can take it intravenously, but only in a hospital setting. And intravenous hydrogen perfusion is used all over the world. So make sure that you are doing as much as you can to take care of your health. Nothing is more important than your health, I promise you. And people who have been in really bad situations due to poor health, once that health is recovered, once they feel better, wow, you just talk to them for a few minutes. You'll find out that good health is something we can't take for granted. And you know, when our MC was up here talking about joints, he says, I'm only 30 years old, but I've already got some joint issues. This is part of aging. My youngest son is 28, and he says, Dad, I can already feel like my body's changing. He's a bodybuilder, he's a marathon runner, and he says, but I can already feel that I'm getting older. I said, yeah. The minute you're born, you start getting older. So being sensible. I love the Asian concept. Many of you may not know that my wife is Asian. And talking about yin-yang, or balance, is such an important concept that in the West, we don't have any concept like this. Or at least didn't used to. Balance. Eat well. Try and exercise. Take care of what you put into your body, because your body is what keeps you alive. And our next talk, whenever we get invited back, we'll talk a little bit more specific about how hydrogen actually works inside your body. What are some of the marvelous things that it can do? We have to be careful. We don't want to overclaim, because nobody can patent hydrogen. Nobody can claim that they own hydrogen. Western medicine can't make money off of hydrogen. They can make drugs and make money. And it doesn't matter if it's Western or Eastern, drug companies want to make money. Nobody's going to make a bunch of money by selling quote unquote hydrogen because it's a natural substance. But think about improving your health. Think about improving your life. And think about the water you drink, the hydrogen that you inhale, the hydrogen that you put into your body. I promise you will be healthier. It will make a difference. So with that, I think I'm done. I hope I didn't go on too far. I apologize if I did. I'll hand the microphone to who?
Thank you, Mike Long, for that insightful sharing on the hydrogen wellness. Who found that sharing very helpful for you guys? Like you guys have a new perspective on hydrogen. Yes? That's why we brought Mike Long over here all the way from KL to Singapore to like share with you guys to learn better about hydrogen wellness. Okay, so we want to share more regarding this hydrogen, first-hand experience from our distributors as well. So we'd like to invite Mr. Tan on stage to share more on the hydrogen wellness. Yeah, Mr. Tan, please. Yeah, round of applause.
Good morning， 早上好。我是 Mr. Tan。我来这边是说分享一下我有这个皮肤的湿疹，它已经困扰了我的皮肤在身体上有30年。然后我就开始使用这个 Hydrogen Inhaler。用了18天之后，发觉到我的皮肤那个湿疹，它帮我改善了这个湿疹的问题，慢慢的减少，至少也比以前好了很多，对不对？所以现在我已经用到现在已经有差不多有3个月左右。所以我会继续的用这个 inhaler， 它帮我们改善了我们的皮肤。谢谢。不过 inhaler 我在用的时候，还有一个事情就是说，我的睡眠很重要。我之前的睡眠不是说很好，然后用了它的睡眠说5个小时到6个小时的睡眠就很足够了，所以我每天去的时候，现在这个情况，我的精神已经改善了很多，不需要7个小时、8个小时，所以你看我的活力已经回来了。之前的我的活力是相当的差了，谢谢。
Okay. Okay, for our non-Mandarin speaking customers yeah, so basically that was Mr. Tan. His sharing was actually due to eczema that he has black patches on his body part. So after inhaling for 18 days, his black patches actually lightened and became less visible. So inhaling during sleep for about 5 to 6 hours, and he actually feels much more fresher right now after he's woken up. Usually it would take like 8 hours, right, for sleep. So in just because he's taking the hydrogen inhaler for just 5 to 6 hours, he feels very fresh after he's waking up. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, we will have our next sharer, Shu Fei, to come up on stage to share more about hydrogen wellness as well. Alright.
Hello， 我是苏菲。我儿子从小到大都有 sinus 的问题，还有他的嗅觉也是有问题的。每次他 sinus 早上起来的时候，他会打喷嚏，一直打喷嚏，然后一直流鼻涕。他可以用3、4包的滴梳，就这样擦，一直擦。连更严重的话，他有时候头会很痛，会去撞墙壁那一种。连过了，他用了Hydrogen Inhaler大概5天哦，5天而已。有一次他回来跟我说，他上了 MRT， 他的嗅觉嗅到那个狐臭味很重，证明说他的嗅觉已经回来了，完全好了。他的 sinus 呢也是好了，只是5天而已哦，一天大概1个小时到2个小时之间就完全好了。我要很感谢的，我们的Hydrogen Inhaler帮助了我的孩子的健康，谢谢。
Alright, thank you, Shu Fei. So the English translation would be her son actually lost his sense of smell for more than 20 years already. So after first 5 years, he actually recovered his sense of smell. So yeah, that's basically 5 days. Yeah, he actually recovered his sense of smell. So basically, he actually, I mean, if you lost your sense of smell, you would expect that it will be permanent, right? Because it's been 20 years. So after just 5 days, he actually managed to recover his sense of smell. So that's actually very powerful. You know, the effects of hydrogen wellness. Yeah. Okay, so next one, we will have Mr. Boon Chuan. Boon Chuan will be he will be sharing more about hydrogen wellness. All right. Okay. Round of applause. Yeah.
OK， 各位大家好，后面有人 OK 好，各位大家好，我叫文川。那么我对这个氢气机我爱死它 ，I love it very very much 啊。And then，是这样的，我在2023年的7月份我去台湾，那个时候天气很热，我从来没有这样的问题。我第一次在那边，我突然在几天时间里面，我整个鼻子这边硬到完，然后痛。头就很痛很痛，我在台湾的时候找了师傅帮我刮痧，我是连自己都没有力刮痧，我也去了在台湾那边看了医生，吃了药打了针，他还是一样痛。然后我就从台湾就飞回马来西亚，我在吉隆坡就找了另外的医生打针吃药，因为我只要一停，我一不弄它，它就痛。痛到我不能够睡觉，所以找医生打针吃药，不是我打医生的针是医生来帮我打针吃药。然后打针吃药之后有比较好的，可是2023年7月开始那一段时间，我就面对了一件事情，就是我常常会嗅到很臭的味道。我从小到大都没有这样的问题的，所以我常问我身边的人，都问他们讲，嗅到很臭哦，没有，每个人都跟我讲有吗？没有臭，只有我一个人臭而已。然后我曾经有一次，这是我经验，我非常不喜欢的经验。我曾经有一个晚上睡觉被臭味臭醒，我突然醒起来，为什么会这样臭？你想看是多么折磨？只有一次，我觉得那个经验已经很够了。后来那个时候我们的这个海螺针引了进来是在2023年11月份嘛，所以那一段时间我一直没有解决我这个问题，我一直嗅到臭的味道，直到我11月的时候，我就去跟我的 Fiona 老师那边说，可以不可以给我用一下这个海螺针引了？因为那个时候机不够，我们买了之后货还没有到，所以到那个时候我就去用了1个小时，那一个晚上我就一直狂流鼻涕，就透明的颜色的，我就以为我是感冒。1个星期过后，我再去用多一次的时候那个经验我就觉得我很喜欢。为什么？当天晚上回去，我在洗脸的时候，我竟然流了2滴的鼻血，滴滴，然后整团比马来西亚的5毛钱更大的阔度的这个脓黄色的，整个就跑在跌在那个洗手盆。从那一刻起到现在，我完全好，完全没有这样的问题。所以那个时候开始，我就很爱死这个产品。然后我在去年的过来，我给大家看一下，如果你们，我跟你讲，一定要用海螺针引了给你家人每一个人，包括你爸爸妈妈，包括你自己，尤其是我们现在每一个人常常都会一直看手机、看电脑，这一些人我在2024年的3月12号早上醒起来的时候，我整个眼睛肿得不像话，又痛又痒，就好像里面有一直针在里面这样。我一直想要去弄它，所以你知道吗？发炎的时候，你越去弄它，它其实就越严重了。所以那个时候可是你痒到你不能了，你没有办法了。我原本想要去看医生了。我没有办法，我想要去看医生打针了。后来我想到我有这个海螺针引了，我是不是应该把自己拿来试一下？所以我试了之后，我3个小时后 ，OK 吗？哎呦天，整个眼睛就亮掉了。这是我亲身的体验哦。所以我觉得说，我们一直觉得眼睛很干眼睛很累之类的，你一定要用我们的这个海螺针引了，尤其我们这个新的版本呢，又可以帮助我们保护眼睛，又可以呼系统，是不是很好？又可以制造水，是不是很好？所以我刚才一上台我就讲，我爱死这个产品，就是因为这样。谢谢大家。
Okay, I don't know if I can do the English translation justice, but basically one morning, Boon Chuan woke up to find his eyes badly swollen. He turned to hydrogen inhaler and used it for just 3 hours, and the swelling started to go down noticeably. And then later, I think the next one will be like he went on a holiday and then he noticed something weird. He has this like heart and foul-smelling blockage on his in his nose. I think after that he went to inhale for 1 hour, and his nose began to discharge mucus non-stop. And the very next day, I think he coughed, and 2 drops of blood and a clump of phlegm came out. Yeah. So basically everything from his body cleared out. Yeah. Is that correct? Yeah. And he has recovered from that since. Yeah.